Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel James. I am the president of MEDGOLD Resources. MEDGOLD is TSX.V listed. We are focused primarily in Serbia and on early stage gold exploration projects. So just our forward-looking cautionary statement. So we are a project generator. We are operating in Serbia. We've acquired a whole series of licenses in Serbia. Our headline project of which is called the Tlamino project, and then that will be the basis of this presentation, and I'll go through a few slides on that. But the premise of the company is that we're exploring through strategic partnerships. So the partnership that we have at the moment that we're working on with our Tlamino project is with Fortuna Silver Mines. Fortuna Silver Mines have about 24% of the company, so we're underpinned by a quality silver producer. And the remainder of the company, we've got 2/3 of the company is tightly held. So we've basically got Fortuna sitting at 24%, and then we've got Radius, which is a company out of Vancouver at about 10%, and then Plethora, which is a group out of the Netherlands on around 10%, with Adrian Day out of the US on 10%, and also management and directors. So the company fully diluted is about 95 million. We've got no warrants outstanding. We've got about 750,000 in cash. And the market cap's sitting around 15 million. So as I said, no warrants outstanding. We've got a few options, which is obviously distributed amongst the team, the geologists, to keep everybody incentivized. So that's about 6 million out on options and about 95 million in total. So this is the team. So maybe there's a few names there that you can recognize. There's myself sitting as president of the company, Daniel James. So I'm a geologist. I've been a geologist for about 20 years now. Graduated out of the United Kingdom, and I've been operating in Europe and Africa and Asia for quite a while now. Sitting as chairman and CEO is Simon Ridgway. Now Simon's got a number of companies under the Gold Group banner, based out of Vancouver. He's also the chairman of Fortuna. Other companies is Volcanic Mines out of West Africa. He's also got Radius, which have got projects in the US as well as Focus. Ralph has been working with Simon for some time now. He's with Prospero and heading up their IR there. Mike Skeed, a geologist with a very strong reputation. He's effectively my mentor, and I consult with him, on a weekly basis. And he's heading up the exploration worldwide for Gold Group now. So he's had a number of big discoveries, including part contributor towards the discovery of Gator Mine in Tanzania, which is where I first met him. And then we've got Jeremy and David at the bottom left there. They were the founders of the MEDGOLD UK when it was a UK company. And we then RTO'd the company into one of Simon Ridgway's shell companies in 2011. And then advisors, we've got Brent Cook and Dick Silito. So in Serbia is fairly well known, as an exploration destination, made most famous really by Reservoir's discovery in the Timok belt. That project is now acquired by Nevsun. And so that's kind of helped us in our ability to help people understand the jurisdiction. It's definitely a mining-friendly country. I think it's well explored for the copper mineralization in the Timok belt itself, but for the gold mineralization, I think it's incredibly underexplored. And I think there's a lot of ground exploration that was done for lead zinc, as well as detailed mapping and mineral occurrence mapping. So just a quick map on the region. Serbia forms part of the Tethyan Belt. Now the Tethyan Belt is one of the longest belts in the world, metallogenic belts in the world, stretching all the way from Romania through Iran and onto Pakistan. The Timok belt is located in the blue. You can see all of those occurrences, through the map there. These are, where you've got Chakuri Peki at the south, and you've got the Bor mine, which has been a copper producer for nearly 100 years now. And we kind of saw that there was an opportunity that while everybody was busy in the Timok and you couldn't drop a stamp in the area there, the entire area is locked up, there was no opportunity for a project generator to get in there and directly apply for ground. We kind of saw that the Serbo-Macedonian belt, which is this orange belt that stretches all the way from Serbia through Macedonia, Bulgaria, and then into northern Greece, is quite underexplored. We identified that the government had done a lot of work for lead zinc, and during all of their exploration under the Yugoslav periods, they documented this lead zinc mineralization, but they never actually assayed for gold. So we kind of did a very basic exercise of going into the archives, going through all of the literature for, with 3 or 4 geos for about 4 months, pulling out all of the known occurrences for lead zinc and trying to identify these, whether there's any potential for gold mineralization. So it's a fairly basic approach, but it was fairly innovative, and I don't think it's really been done before. So part of the approach that we did was picking out these volcanic centers. Now these form obviously the heat engines to a lot of the mineralization through the areas, and these are sporadically distributed through this Serbo-Macedonian belt, and these are contributors to the lead zinc mineralization. Now, with modern mineral models, we know that the lead zinc mineralization is quite closely associated with the gold and the silver. So it stands to reason that if we can find, a series of these lead zinc occurrences, proximal to those will be these gold occurrences. And sure enough, our early work has identified that there is a very close link between them. And the work that we've done, we've basically ended up staking a whole series of licenses. Now, in the south here of the country, right on the Bulgarian-Macedonian borders, we've staked 5 licenses. These cover 500 square kilometers. We've then staked another 8 areas, throughout the belt. So we've picked out some areas, associated around the top of the top of Kosovo through here, where Eldorado are busy in here with their KMC project. And then you've got the Letse volcanic complex. We've picked up some ground in and around this, as well as other licenses dotted around the area. So we've basically enjoyed what we would consider a near first mover advantage through the Serbo-Macedonian belt, enjoying the fact that Reservoir had made this discovery and brought Serbia to the attention of many, but yet the belt is relatively underexplored. So these are the 5 licenses that we've secured already. The work that we've done over the last 2 years was funded by Fortuna Silver Mines. They gave us we entered into a strategic alliance with them, and we spent $3 million, Canadian dollars. In exchange, we gave them 24% of the company, and we used that money to generate targets throughout the entire Serbo-Macedonian belt. So these were the first licenses to be granted, and the 2 at the bottom here, these are under option already with Fortuna Silver Mines. So Fortuna have an option to spend up to $8 million US, including a PEA, to take 70% of the company. The remainder of the licenses up here, these 3 are free, and these are MEDGOLD owned 100%. So through the next slides, I'll talk you through our main occurrence and our main project, which is located right down in the southeast of this belt. Now, just a quick bit about geology, just to set the scene. The model that we've come up with here, which I think is fairly innovative for the region and not been identified in Serbia before, is the idea of a detachment model. So a detachment fault is essentially a flat, low-lying structure, and we've identified it ringing all the way around the outside here, basically separating that purple unit from all the other units. So as that big purple unit has been exhumed, has been lifted up, all the rocks surrounding it have all slid off this big dome. And in that process, they've created this broad zone of brecciation and these flat-lying structures. And this has created a perfect environment for fluids to be hosted. If you can then cut these, this breccia zone with high-angle structures, the fluids can come up and flow into these structures, and they make a very nice trap for mineralization. So that's basically formed part of the geological model that we're dealing with down in the Tlamino project. So as I said, the next few slides I'll be talking about down in the bottom of the Cernok dome down there. So back in 2016, I was working through this area, and we came across this outcrop, and it's obviously got a lot of iron oxide on it, and it looked fairly interesting. But to my initial observations, it just looked like there was some lead zinc mineralization with a bit of pyrite through there. We had no idea how high grade it was going to be, but with the first samples that we took, we got up to 33 grams in the first rock chips. We then came back and then started doing some channel chip sampling, so some saw cut channel samples. So we basically cut a series of channels all the way across the outcrop, left and right and up and down, and they yielded some spectacular grades. So the average of those and the best intersection of those was 84 meters at 5.6 grams gold, and that was accompanied with 105 grams silver. Some of the best intersections that we got on an individual basis, on a meter, we had 134 grams per ton gold in a meter, and we had nearly 2 kilos of silver as our best silver intersection. So this is incredibly high grade, sitting right at the surface on a model that's not really been understood. We've identified it, I think, for the first time as being a flat-line detachment system, whereas if it had been a high angle feature, the tonnage would be very low. The fact that this is a low angle structure with the structure dipping back up into the hill makes it very exciting. Makes it gives it a lot of tonnage potential. So the couple of slides that I've got, I'll show you through a bit of IP, a bit of the channel data and channel work in detail, and also some of the geochemistry that we've done in the region. So just stepping out, just to view where that high grade mineralized outcrop sits, in space. That's this anomaly here. So the soil data basically picks out, a lovely, great big anomaly sitting over the outcrop. But the area to the west of this is not depicted by gold anomalies in soil. The majority of the mineralization is blind. There's only one outcrop that we found in this whole area, and that one outcrop is yielding this very big soil anomaly. So when we follow the trace of this detachment structure around, we come to this next area here, and we put a soil grid over this, and this created a huge soil anomaly about 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers, associated and in proximity to this detachment structure, but also associated to a series of northwest features. So we think it's the northwest features that are feeding in the mineralization, and it's the detachment structure which is trapping them. So it makes for quite a neat little geological model that we're working towards. So zoomed in a little bit more now, so this is the high-grade outcrop that I was talking about is sitting just here under the prospect called Barrier. We undertook an IP survey last summer, for about 39 kilometers. We know that this was our lead zinc occurrence that brought us into the area in the first place. So looking through the archives in the Belgrade libraries, they talked about this occurrence, and they talked about a resource of 7 million tons at about 1.5% lead zinc. Now, the Yugoslavs recognise, and we'd recognise, that's sub-economic, but they failed to recognise and call it what it is. It's an intermediate epithermal system hosted within a low-angle detachment structure. But they worked out that it was a low-angle structure, and some of their work demonstrates that it is extensive over quite an area. So we undertook the IP firstly over this area because we think this area, the mineralisation looks identical between the two outcrops, and there's only 2 outcrops of the mineralised rock in the whole area. This is lead zinc with almost no gold in it, whereas if you come up to Barrier, this has got very low lead zinc and much higher gold silver. So we think that there's some sort of transition, some metallogenic transition between the two, which is just typical within the porphyry epithermal environment, where you'll go from a copper through your gold silvers out to your lead zincs. So the fact that we were able to pick up anomalism over the Liska area gave us quite a lot of encouragement that the IP method would work. Then when we did the survey over Barrier, we identified that the outcrop, which is the high-grade outcrop, sits right on the edge of an IP anomaly. But the IP anomaly continues undercover for a kilometre undercover and for about 400 metres north-south. So the combination of seeing that we've got a similar signature from the Liska, which we know has got a low-angle detachment structure, as well as the high-grade mineralisation at Barrier, kind of gives us quite a lot of encouragement as to the scale of the mineralisation. Now this is a schematic section. This is basically a section from the Liska occurrence at the bottom of the hill, which has got the 7 million tonnes of 1.5% lead zinc mineralisation continue along the detachment in here. And then you've got the Barrier outcrop, which is our gold silver outcrop further up the hill. And you note that the detachment structure, we assume it to be basically tracking topography. So you're never going to be too far away, and the mineralisation is never going to be too deep. This is a near surface, high grade, and potentially a high tonnage target that we're looking at, which is quite a rare combination of 3 things that we need as explorers. So just zooming in onto the outcrop, this is a high-grade outcrop that I showed you the photo of at the beginning, and this is the channel sampling work that we did. Now, the sampling work we did was with a saw, with like an angle grinder, to try and replicate drill core. Now, these are surface samples, but they're representative. The 84 meters basically continues all the way around the outcrop. So this whole outcrop here is mineralized. You've got a zone of much higher grade in the middle, but the whole thing is running at 84 meters at 5.6 grams. And then you've got some other zones in here with much higher grade of 12 meters at 8 grams and nearly 400 grams silver. And then what we wanted to show was that this was a 3-dimensional zone of mineralization. We managed to find that the Yugoslavs had excavated an adit, and the adit, the entrance to which was closed. So we managed to open it up, and we managed to get into this adit. And this adit is represented here on this channel line here. So this is 52 meters going underneath the outcrop. So this whole we sampled the whole thing, and this was running 52 meters at 2 grams. So what was our fear at the beginning was that this is maybe a two-dimensional zone of mineralization. It might be just a thin zone, but the adit is basically quite important to us. It's basically demonstrated that the mineralization has that third dimension. It does continue into the hill, and it does confirm that it's a flat-lying zone of mineralization. Further evidence for the zone of flat-lying mineralization. This is Liska. This is the one at the bottom of the hill. This is the one with the 7 million tons at 1.5% lead zinc, but very low gold. But what we've managed to do, we managed to remodel, all of this mineralization in here from the historical drilling. And it clearly shows, even though the Yugoslavs didn't call it a detachment model, it clearly shows a zone of what they were calling stratiform mineralization following a zone of brecciation. So it's flat-lying mineralization. Here alone, they've got 7 million tons, and it averages about 40 meters thick. And they've drilled it up to about 300 meters away from the outcrop. So it covers a big area. Now, if the zone at Barrier is anything like this, and covers the same sort of area and has a similar sort of tonnage, it would be very, very significant, especially if we can replicate those grades. And I think demonstrating that we've got IP anomaly extending for 1 kilometer away from the outcrop makes it all the more exciting. So just to summarise what we've got at Tlamino, which is the project under option with Fortuna. Fortuna can get to 70% of this project by spending $8 million US. We've identified that we've got a large-scale mineralised structure. It's extensive over a very large area. The mineralisation at Liska demonstrates that it's flat-lying and it's potentially very large. We've got very high grade at surface, 84 meters at 5.5 grams at surface. We've got an IP anomaly demonstrating the continuation for 1 kilometer to the west and 400 meters to the north-south. Furthermore, we've also got another target located further around to the west from Barrier, which is also under option with Fortuna. This is a soil target at the moment, and this is about 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. So we're basically showing that the structure, as I showed on that original diagram where you had the big purple dome feature, there's mineralization encircling the entire feature. So we'll be doing work over the next few months to confirm that. So the program for 2018 is we've basically got a drill program lined up, ready to start next month. So this is quite an exciting time for us. We've got all of this data indicating it's a large structure, high grade, but obviously the proof is in the pudding, the proof is in the drilling. So we're going to start drilling next month, fully funded by Fortuna. We've got about 2,000 meters to start straight away. Shallow drilling, it's near surface, so it's the drill holes will only need to be 100 to 200 meters maximum. Fortuna also have a budget, 600,000 US, already earmarked for this project. So should we have early success in the drilling, we fully intend to keep drilling through the year, and that could yield at least double the drilling budget here, and have something potentially significant by the end of the year. Now, we've also got the Karamanitsa prospect, which is located just to the west. We've got some trenching and some geophysics lined up for that. But we've also got the other 8 licenses that we've applied for, part of the early targeting work that we did, looking at these volcanic centres and looking at this lead-zinc mineralisation. They're already under application. They went in last year. So we're expecting the granting of those licenses through this year. And then those licenses will be covering those with stream sediment sampling. So in summary, we're working in a quality destination. We're working in a mining friendly jurisdiction. It's an area of low population, as you can see in the panoramic photo there. We're fully funded by the Tlamino project is fully funded by Fortuna Silver Mines, who are a quality partner. They've got cash, they've got operating mines, and Brett talked before this meeting about juniors going on to putting mines into production. That's not the intention of us. We are a project generator. We are explorers. Our speciality, and mine particularly, is in exploration, and we'll make no bones about trying to put the thing into production. We've got a producer already as a partner, so that would never be a concern for us. So we've got drilling planned for the year, so we'll have news flow coming up probably from June with results of the drilling. Then the program should be reaching the first 2,000 meters completed by July time. We'll have new licenses coming through and work undertaken on those as well. We're also talking to a few other partners with regards to coming in and extending new opportunities with us. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.